Most people think the server stores your login somewhere and checks it every time you make a request. It doesn't. With JWT, the server stores nothing, and that's exactly what makes it work. A JSON Web Token, JWT, is a small self-contained package of information that proves who you are. When you log in, the server creates one and hands it to you. From that point forward, you send it with every request and the server reads it directly. No database lookup, no session file. The information travels with the token itself. Think of it like a signed letter from a notary. Anyone can read what it says, but only someone with the right seal could have written it. That seal is what makes it trustworthy. Token authentication powers almost every modern API you interact with. Stripe, GitHub, Google, AWS. When your app calls any of these services, it's almost certainly sending a bearer token in the request header. Without a solid authentication strategy, teams hit a specific wall. They scale their app to multiple servers, and suddenly login sessions break. User logs in on server 1. Next request hits server 2. Server 2 has no idea who they are. JWT sidesteps that entirely because the token is self-contained. No server needs shared memory or a central session store. That's called stateless authentication. The server verifies the token itself rather than looking anything up. That distinction, stateful sessions versus stateless tokens, is exactly what teams get wrong before they've felt the pain of it. A JWT has 3 parts, separated by dots. You've probably seen one, a long string that looks like random characters. It's not random. Each section is base64 URL encoded, which means it's just transformed text, not encrypted. Anyone can decode the first 2 parts. The first part is the header. It tells you the token type and the signing algorithm, typically something like HS256, which stands for HMAC SHA256 or RS256, which uses RSA public key cryptography. The second part is the payload. This is where the actual data lives, called claims. Standard claims include sub, which is the subject or user ID, XPay, which is the expiration timestamp, and IAT, the time the token was issued. You can also add custom claims, user roles, permissions, account tiers, whatever your application needs. The third part is the signature. This is what the server actually trusts. Here's how the signature works. The server takes the encoded header, adds a dot, adds the encoded payload, then runs that combined string through a cryptographic function using a secret key that only the server knows. The output is the signature. When a token comes back in a request, the server repeats that exact process. If the output matches the signature on the token is valid. If someone tampered with the payload, changed a user ID, extended an expiration, the signature won't match. The token is rejected. And if this is the kind of thing you want to understand, Stack Future covers one concept like this every day. One important detail, JWT does not encrypt the payload by default, it signs it. Signing proves the data wasn't changed. Encryption hides what the data says. Don't put passwords or sensitive personal data in a standard JWT payload. It's readable by anyone who has the token. A developer builds an API with Node.js and Express. They protect roots using a library called JSON Web Token. When a user logs in successfully, the server calls JWT sign, passing in the user ID and role, a secret key stored in an environment variable, and an options object that sets the expiration to 1 hour. The client receives the token and stores it, usually in memory or an HTTP-only cookie. Every subsequent API request includes it in the authorization header, formatted as bearer, space, then the token string. On the protected root, the server calls jwt.verify with the incoming token and the same secret key. If verification passes, the decoded payload is attached to the request object and the handler runs. If the token is expired or tampered with, JSON Web Token throws a JSON Web Token error or token expired error, and the server returns a 401 unauthorized response. That error, 401 with a token expired error, is one of the most common things developers debug in production. Understanding the structure of JWT is what lets you trace it immediately. JWT works because the signature makes the payload tamper-proof. Not secret, but trustworthy. The server verifies the token mathematically without storing anything. That's the entire mechanism. Next up, what actually happens inside a Kubernetes pod the moment it starts. More layered than most people expect. If this video earned it, hit the like button. It helps more people find explanations like this one.